It's time to sit back and check out the RCWR show with Lee Sanders. Get fun, in-depth coverage and analysis from the latest in professional wrestling in AEW, WWE, NWA, Impact Wrestling, or the world of entertainment. From big TV shows to your favorite sports like the NBA or NFL. All things music, movies, and beyond, while trying to make sense of this crazy world we live in. All while keeping it honest, insightful, and interactive since 2011. And now your host, live from the nation's capital of Washington, D.C., Lee Sanders.
Hello, friends. Covering the latest in wrestling, entertainment, and beyond since 2011. You are checking out episode number 1043 of the RCWR show for this August 14th, 2023. A few minutes removed from an all-new episode of WWE RAW, where the Judgment Day looks as though they are back on the saddle again, and they are one mind, one heart, one in the night. I'm trying to think of that damn U2 song, One. You know what I'm talking about. They are definitely back on the same page, it would appear. What did you all think about tonight's WWE Raw? Sound off. Let me know by commenting. And of course, you're more than welcome to get at your man all throughout social media. Hope you guys had a fantastic weekend. Mine's pretty good. Actually, I switched it up a bit. Normally, I'm doing some side hustling on the weekends after work is over and done with, and I do my second round of side hustling, work-wise, and more freelance stuff, honestly. But this go-round, I actually found myself instead spending time around the house, catching up on some things that I had been meaning to do, but I just kept putting it off because I was always busy with work, and it was nice. I mainly kicked back, and honestly, I took care of home. I had mowed my lawn, hadn't done that in a good minute, and the weather was so right. It was so perfect. It couldn't get any better. And after I was done with that, I actually had some trees that I didn't actually take an axe to the trees, but I did have to cut down rather large, pretty thick tree branches for some of my trees that's in front of my house, because it was getting to the point, and I'm sure those of you that are homeowners, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Nothing is more irritating than when you have trees that start obscuring your path to the front door, and that's exactly what was starting to happen. So heaven forbid, it's already bad as it is right now. At least it was before I cut it. But heaven forbid it rains, then the branches will slump even more. Oh, if it snows, okay, you really know, and that snow is coming down nice and thick and everything, then the branches, leaves, all that, it's going to be coming down even more. So it was getting to that point where it was affecting when I would be coming in and out of the house, everybody else as well. So I had spent some time cutting tree branches, getting it nice, bagged up, ready to go and everything. So it was nice, laid back, took it easy. Really great weather that we had. Not so much going into today and for at least the next, I would say, 18 hours, as we're under a storm watch warning, unfortunately. And speaking of storms and all that, nothing compares to what had went down in Hawaii a couple of days ago. Shout out to those of you. Over the years, we've had a lot of listeners check in, listen to the show and everything from Hawaii. So, you know, it's not a big old bombastic large number of folks from Hawaii, but we do see from over the years, I've personally seen up to now the representation that comes from those listening from Hawaii. So I'm definitely thinking of you guys. I hope you guys somehow are going to be able to pull through this, because I know that those wildfires out there, it had affected a lot of Hawaii residents. It's so bad. You got Maui residents saying, yo, whatever you're thinking about as far as coming out here, don't come out here, stay away, just, and there's so many volunteers right now that's doing everything that they can to dedicate any resources, financial aid, you name it. You've got United Airlines. There's also a lot of really good companies out there that's trying to do a lot of good. And United Airlines, say what you will in regards to United Airlines, but there was this story I came across where a United Airlines pilot who went on vacation in Hawaii, he ended up volunteering to fly a plane from Maui to the mainland U.S. to help out 330 people, over 330 people that were displaced by the fire. So it's really awesome to see. Now, I know not everybody is going to be able to do things like that, but if you haven't contributed yet, I'm sure that the victims affected by this fire, they would greatly appreciate it, whether it's maybe a place to stay, some type of access to financial resources, you name it. I'm sure every little bit definitely helps. I would imagine Red Cross, it's already been set up and everything. Over here in D.C., just to come back to D.C., we had a really bad storm that went down earlier today. And unfortunately, I know a lot of you guys are pet lovers, and it's so somber when you hear this too, but there was this doggy daycare center that's off of Rhode Island Avenue, I believe in Northeast DC. They made the news last year because when there was a flood, same issue, there was a flooding issue. And when it rained so bad, you had water that was coming halfway up to your chest the last time that it had rained out there, and it affected this store, this particular establishment. Now, luckily, nobody was hurt. And they had been going back and forth with city officials, we got to get some type of a tunnel drain built in so that we don't have to worry about water like this piling up when it gets really heavy on the rain. And so it's just been going back and forth, and I guess finally some type of an arrangement was made. However, they didn't get that tunnel drain installed in time, as they got hit with a storm earlier today, and unfortunately there were casualties of this. Now, employees who were there at the time, they were able to escape okay. They had to get help from EMS, fire departments and all that, but they were okay. They were able to manage to. But in the process of all of this, they were trying to make sure that the lives of the animals that were there were also okay. And unfortunately, they're not given a firm number, but multiple animals did not make it. That just breaks your heart if you're a pet lover, you're a pet owner. That just breaks your heart when you hear that, because we think of our furry little friends as a family member. For some of us, they are, if they're not a direct family member, they are an extended member of the family. So when we hear stuff like this that's happening, so many emotions that we feel at the same time. Definitely anger is part of it and everything, right? So to hear that, just even for the pet owners who were able to get down there to that place in time, and they were able to find that, hey, my furry little friend is still alive, their hearts still ached for those that unfortunately were going to get some really bad news. And like I was telling Tams before I came upstairs, because I actually had spent the first couple of minutes just watching the news, looking at the first 10 minutes at least. And like I said to her, it's now this is going to be, and mark my words, you can easily stay on top of this. If you're curious, you can stay on top of this news and see where this goes, or I'll update you guys. But if I were to make a bold prediction, and this is something that they have been playing around with city officials as far as getting that drain built in and all that since last year. And now you have a result of lives, okay? That should not happen. That should not happen. Mark my words when I say that 9 times out of 10, we're going to see some type of a lawsuit, some type of litigation that's going to go down. And I would imagine victims of this latest storm, they're all going to band together under one law firm, and they're going to try to stick it probably to the city, definitely to that animal establishment, okay, that daycare establishment. They're definitely going to stick it to them. And I would imagine that the establishment is, in part, they're going to be like, wait a minute. So we've got the victims suing us, suing the government, and then I would imagine the establishment is the animal establishment. They're also probably going to try to sue the city officials as well. Basically it's a game of hot potato, right? That's how I see this playing out, but I think ultimately it'll get settled out of court. I don't think it's even going to get that far, but we'll see what happens. So yeah, there's a whole lot of craziness that's going on right now. Weird start to the week, man. But no matter where you are, I hope that you and yours are safe during these times. And if you do have to deal with some significant and severe weather, turn around, don't drown. Can't stress that enough. Turn around, don't drown. It is not worth it. Seriously, it is not worth it. So try to put a couple of smiles on your faces for the next little bit that we're going to be live on the air. Talk a little bit about Raw for this week. We'll also get into a little bit of AEW news. A little bit more. It's been a relatively nice, quiet week. I gotta tell you, great to see Lufisto back on social media. That was a nice jump start to my week. It was one of the first things that I saw today to kick off the new week. I hop on social media and I see that Lufisto is back. That legit put a big old smile on my face. I even tweeted at her, I'm so glad you're back, like seriously. And then she liked it. Wasn't expecting her to like it, but no, legit, I'm happy that she's back and everything. And I was hoping that she wasn't gonna let a few bad apples get the best of her on social media, let alone these are people that she's never ever going to meet. That as far as she's aware of, she's never gonna come across these people, right? So it's like, just keep doing you, stay connected to your fan base, stay connected to those that are, right? So it warmed my heart legit to see her back on social media. Now that's her, I guess we're calling it X now. I know some of us still call it Twitter, but maybe I'll just say Twitter X. That way you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. But it was nice to see her back on Twitter X. I don't know if she's back on the Facebook because I never did get around to seeing if she was back on the Facebook. But I am on Facebook as we speak, so I can easily tell you guys if she reactivated her Facebook page as well. And it does not look like she did. Sadly, she did not. Yeah. And I'm actually, let me just indulge me real quick here. Let me just make sure that I am looking at it right here. And her Facebook is not back, which sucks, which really, really sucks. But, hey, it's all good. So you got her on the Twitter X, and you've got access to her on the Instagram. So take your pick if you are a Lufisto's fan. Speaking of Lufisto, was nice seeing a couple of you guys interact on some of the YouTube clips that we've been putting up within recent weeks. I know over the weekend we had put up a clip show excerpt from, I think it was episode number 1042, the talk of Lufisto and everything. We put just the excerpt of that segment of the show up on the YouTube channel. Been seeing a few of you guys interacting with that and everything. Appreciate the love and the support. Of course, shout out to DJ, who's been doing a phenomenal job with the YouTube channel so far and uploading clips for the show and everything. Good stuff. Loving it. So, yeah, that was great. Great way to kick off the week. I was supposed to sit down earlier today and talk with the good, kind folks over at WOW Women of Wrestling. There was an interview that I thought we had locked in, and we were loaded. We were ready to go. Myself and my brother-in-arms, Mish Thomas from Wrestling Soup. Shout out to him. We're ready to go. We were given the time and everything, and we click on the link, and nothing's happening. We're wondering what's going on. We're waiting on our host and the special guests, and nothing ever happened. And I eventually reached out, tried to see what was going on, didn't get a reply, and it was, well, okay, I guess. Well, next thing I know, I'm doing any and everything else, running some errands and everything. I come back home a little late. I say, let me get in a little bit of a quick power nap before Raw comes on. That way I can be nice and fresh. I can really take in this new episode and everything. Next thing I know, after I wake up, I see that I get a missed call from the publicist, and I get an email that's giving me a whole different time for today. It'd be one thing if it was an hour off or whatever, but this is like 7 hours later, and this is nothing. This is not matching up to what me and Mish had confirmed via screenshots. Make sure that we were on the same page with the same information, because it's, hey, maybe we read it wrong, right? No. So the interview didn't happen when it was all said and done. I was a little bit bummed out about it, so hopefully we'll be able to work on that and get that out to you guys, because I know there's a decent amount of you guys that like the talk of women of wrestling and everything, like bringing it to you guys. I gotta admit, I am definitely behind, though. I see I'm not the only one. There's quite a few of you guys that are a little bit behind on the episodes as well. I mean, they're putting out great content. It's just a matter of, I get it, we're in that bubble all together where there's only but so much wrestling we're willing to watch on a weekly basis, right? I trust me, I get it. I know how it is sometimes. I need to have that moment of time for myself where I need to decompress and just, okay, let me check out some stuff that's non-wrestling related. Like, as of late, I have been checking out, I don't know if you guys get access to this network, but it's called Get TV, Great Entertainment Television. And they stay showing old school shows on there. So, like, if you were to tune in on the weekends, these guys are showing a boatload of westerns. I think just on Saturdays. It could be on Sundays too, but I know for certain on Saturdays, late Saturday mornings, going into all day on Saturday, like probably right at the start of the evening, they're showing nothing but westerns, okay? But their main meat and potatoes is during the work week. That's where they really shine, because they'll show episodes of Kojak, the Rockford Files, Ironside, and I've been getting into Ironside with Raymond Burr. I've been getting into that like a mofo as of late. I sat down over the weekend with Wifey and we watched a couple of episodes, and I was telling her, I said, I'm enjoying this a lot more than Perry Mason. And she goes, really? I'm like, yeah, Perry Mason, it gets a bit redundant. It's pretty much rinse, repeat. You know what to expect and everything, so it gets a little played out after a while. It's like Ironside, it's a little bit more spontaneous, almost the same kind of formula, but it's more spontaneous. It's definitely cool that there's this nice expansive supporting cast that's surrounded by Ironside and everything. But yeah, I recommend you guys check it out if you like the old school stuff like me. You're a fan of it, some of those shows that I had mentioned, you're more than welcome to check that out. Quincy ME Medical Examiner, Quincy ME. That stars Jack Klugman, who was Oscar on the Odd Couple TV series with Tony Randall from back in the day. So a lot of cool vintage stuff they show. Walker, Texas Ranger. I used to be a big fan of Chuck Norris, but ever since he's gotten more and more verbal politically, I've just, now when I see episodes of freaking Walker, I cringe and I change the channel to something else instantly. So it's kind of like MeTV. I know a lot of you guys have heard of MeTV. It's kind of like MeTV, only Get TV doesn't have the expanded catalog of vintage shows that they air, round the clock like MeTV has. Like MeTV, definitely you can make the argument, MeTV hands down as far as vintage TV shows goes, they've got more variety than Get TV. So yeah, check it out. Let me know what you guys think about that. All right, let's talk some WWE. Talk a little bit of wrestling for a little bit. Switch it up and everything. So look, your two main thoughts going into this week's WWE Raw is, number one, what is next for Cody Rhodes? You're right, because you remember what had went down from the last episode of Raw. You're going, okay, it seemed as though Cody, he's ready to maybe try to challenge Roman Reigns for the championship. But then we see Seth Rollins come out. Seth Rollins ready to throw it down right then and there with Cody, basically pick up where they left off. But then we get this whole mix of Judgment Day and a whole bunch of other stuff, right? So, the viewer, the fan, you're going, yeah, what is next for Cody? Definitively, we don't exactly know what's next for Cody. Well, that would be answered here tonight. And you knew for sure, you had to ask yourself that question as far as what's next for Cody after seeing Shinsuke Nakamura do a cheap attack on Seth Rollins. So you pretty much knew by default, okay, 9 times out of 10, Rollins is going to be coming now, trying to call out Nakamura, get they fight on and everything, or, and I said this last Monday, and I said it's a long shot, I said, or Rollins could put on the conspiracy theory hat and say that Cody Rhodes and Shinsuke, they somehow conspired with one another, and Rollins basically, I hold Cody responsible for Nakamura attacking me. Cody put something in his head, and that's why, because that's not the Nakamura that I know of. I could see something like that playing out, but we saw how it all had panned out tonight. Michael Cole interviewing Nakamura at one point during the show, trying to get an explanation as far as why Nakamura did what he did to Seth Rollins. And that was just dead on arrival off the break when they had Nakamura speaking his native tongue for a little bit. The crowd not really sure what the hell this guy is saying, and as a result of that, they're booing. They're not booing Nakamura because they think he sucks, or it's actually the opposite, right down to the point. Fans loved it from the previous week. Remember that crowd reaction that we saw when Nakamura did lay out Seth Rollins? The fans were in euphoria for that. They loved that moment, okay? They want to see that mean streak from Nakamura. They know what Nakamura is capable of and everything. So, but to have Nakamura this week speak for as long as he did in his native language, and there was no English translation put out there off the break, that was just one of those, you couldn't help but shake your head and go, really? We're really going? Right? Don't get me wrong, folks. Don't get me wrong, and don't misconstrue my words. I feel that the way that all was essentially set up was wrong. That was poorly executed. The way that whole interview should have been handled, for one, should not have been conducted in the middle of a ring in front of a live audience. No, that's not how it should have been done. The way it should have been conducted, pre-tape something from earlier in the day. Hell, you don't even have to pre-tape it. You can let that be a live interview. Just let it be a live interview in the back. You got all the other sections set up and ready to go, of course, right? You see it on a weekly basis. So you could have easily had Michael Cole with the nice little glasses, sitting in a nice, soft, comfy little chair across from Nakamura, and you could have easily done it that way. Easily done it that way. And then you could have followed up with Seth Rollins interrupting it to basically appear in the ring. Crowd, as always, eating out the palm of his hands as he's doing the whole theme song, sing along, and all of that good stuff. You could have Seth Rollins come out that way once he's heard just about all he needed to hear for why Nakamura did what he did. Call out Nakamura, come down the ring, shake his hand, blah, 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 blah. You still could have done all that. Now, some people might nitpick at that and say, man, do we really want to see Rollins do all of that only to have Nakamura gingerly come on down the ramp, get into the ring? Do we really want to do? And I say, yeah, why not? Especially if it means that we're trying to do our best to really build up properly Nakamura and try to do a better job at masking the areas where, you know, he's not at his strongest, and English translation is definitely one of his weak points, unfortunately, which I find that to be crazy that all this time that Nakamura has spent living in North America, I refuse to believe that his English is that extremely broken. There's no way, no how. Convince me otherwise, people. But yeah, I didn't like how all of that was executed. I would say, though, that they kind of redeemed themselves a little bit at the end when Rollins basically says to Nakamura, if all you wanted was a title shot, all you had to do was ask. Here we are right now. You want a shot, you got it, you know. And he extends his hand, does Rollins. Nakamura, this go round, shakes the hand. But I'm curious what was said to the ear of Rollins, because we saw all the great confidence, that gusto that Rollins has been pushing since he's been a world heavyweight champion and everything, even with his feud with Balor, for that matter. We continue to see the same swag coming from Rollins. This was the first time, I'd have to go back and just check, but this was the first time that Rollins, whatever was said to him by Nakamura, this was the first time that we saw Rollins that just looked very, what's the right words I'm looking for here? I don't want to say lack confidence. I don't think that's the word I'm looking for. It was almost one of those bombshell kind of, oh my God, my world has changed forever and it's for the worse. This is the worst piece of news I could have possibly been given. That's the kind of look that he had on his face. He looked ghostly at whatever it was that Nakamura said. And I love that Michael Cole and Wade Barrett made sure to capitalize on that, because that definitely dangled that carrot for the next little bit. We need to know what exactly Rollins was informed. We need to know what Nakamura whispered to Rollins, and maybe, just maybe, if they do this right, honestly, I say let Rollins continue to try to come off like his usual self. But when that question is brought up, let him deflect. Let him just straight up, no comment. No, I'm not going to answer that question. Let him continue to operate in that fashion while showing that same level of, damn, what's wrong with this dude, right? The facial expressions and all that. Let's continue to see that, right? I loved it. I loved it. It was a nice little touch. It's almost like Nakamura knew the right way. It's a way with words sometimes. Nakamura knew the right thing to say that would cut through all the bravado when, what was it? The world will never know, at least for now. I have a feeling, though, as we get closer to the next pay-per-view, what is it, Payback? We'll definitely know. I would imagine we won't know what Nakamura said to Rollins until Payback. I really hope Nakamura goes over. That would be a refreshing take, I gotta tell you, because I'm out on this one as far as Rollins as the Raw Heavyweight Champion. I'm out on that one. You know what champion I am in on right now? I am in on my girl, Chelsea Green. Chelsea Green, I tell you, gotta give her a lot of credit. I don't know if she's the one that's been spearheading this, or if it's a case where WWE is just taking their cues from what folks are saying on social media, recognizing the fact that, okay, when it comes to these women's titles, every time we turn around, we have done some type of lame-ass tournament. This has somehow got to stop. However, we need to give credit where it needs to be due. We just need to give WWE credit from the standpoint of, it looked as though they were going to strip Chelsea Green of the tag titles, but that wasn't the case whatsoever. It looked that way, though, as we had Adam Pearson character. He was getting ready to do the damn thing, setting it up, milking it real good, letting Chelsea know, hey, your partner, Sonya Deville, torn ACL. She's going to be out several months. As a result of that, she's not going to be able to defend championship there with you. This leaves me with no other choice. Chelsea Green's like, nah, man, we can go ahead. We can hold some auditions, right? Chelsea Star Search, whatever the hell she was calling it. Next thing you know, somebody that we have not seen in months, Piper Niven. Piper Niven just popping up. Actually, you know what? Kaden Carter and Katana Chance, they had popped up. They were delivering some verbal cheap shots there, basically trying to put themselves over as the next women's tag champions, when all of a sudden freaking Piper Niven just came out of nowhere, slugging the hell out of both girls and everything. Love that touch. Piper Niven looking at Chelsea Green, I'm your new tag partner. I'm the one that's going to be holding on to one half of those titles. Chelsea's like, hey, look, you can do like everybody else. You can take a number. You can give me your social media information, DM me, send me an email. Piper's like, nah. You don't understand. There is no negotiating. There is no, I'm your partner. Now let's go. Loved it. I freaking loved it. The last time that we had seen Piper Niven, it really depends. If you happen to have gone to a recent WWE live event, let's say around June, then you would have seen Piper Niven back then. But as far as, like an actual TV show, I think that really depends. How many of you guys watch WWE Main Event? Because if you watch Main Event, you go back to early May of this year, she was in a match against Dana Brooke. But as far as the flagship shows goes, you got to go pretty far back. You got to go back to April of this year. That was the last time that she was on television, to the point that was a Raw Women's Title #1 Contenders triple threat match. It was Io Sky against Piper Niven and Mia Yim, if you guys recall. That was the last time, as far as main flagship TV shows goes, mainstream TV, that was the last time that we saw Piper Niven. And I remember when she had returned around that time frame, because remember, her appearances throughout 2023, it's been very spotty here and there, but I just remember feeling around that last rodeo when she had returned, okay, Piper's back, okay, now they kind of have an idea perhaps maybe what they want to do with her and everything, and she disappeared again and everything. And I know in the process she got married, all that good stuff, and congrats to her. Very happy for her and everything. But nothing pleases me more than to see the big girl cute big girl at that. Nothing pleases me more than to see her back on the TV again on a regular basis, because that is a woman for all intents and purposes. I know she might not be everybody's cup of tea as far as in-ring performer goes and everything, but as far as I'm concerned, that is somebody who every time she goes in there, she busts her ass, she puts on a rather pretty solid performance and everything. You can definitely, it's weird how they drop the ball with her, because I remember when the stuff went down with Eva Marie, you thought for certain the way that was ultimately gonna pop, that it was gonna be so huge and Piper was gonna go over super well, and the momentum, it seemed as though it was really starting to build up for her and everything, and next thing you know, they took a hard left, and Piper hadn't been the same after that. So to now have her be in this position, and not for nothing, but you all have put out some really cool, interesting names out there as far as a replacement. Look, we all definitely were in agreement. Look, don't go the route of doing another tournament for these titles. It's ridiculous. Do something else instead. Let a replacement come in and operate that way. And I remember I pitched an idea where Chelsea Green was essentially going to hold Adam Pearce accountable for the injury that happened to Sonya Deville, and use that as the grounds for Adam Pearce being removed as a authority figure for Raw and SmackDown or whatever. So the fact that they went in this direction, because some of the names that you all recommended, I saw some folks showing love for Gigi Dolan as a replacement. JC Jane was another one. Those were the main two names that I saw floating around from you guys. I was marinating on it a little bit, and as far as, okay, who could possibly go in, I was thinking about that nice, attractive Latina down at NXT. What is it? Carmen. Every time I think of her name, I get ready to say Carmen Electra. Is it Carmen Lopez? I think it's Carmen Lopez. Give me a second here. Oh, I'm trying to think of her name. I'm drawing a blank on her name. NXT. I think it's Lopez. Electra Lopez. I was considering her. I thought maybe she might be a good, because I'm just picturing her and Chelsea. I thought they would have extremely complemented each other fairly well. So I was thinking about her. Long shot, but since NXT has pretty much been popping up on the main flagship shows, I also was thinking, well, it's a long shot, but what about maybe Tiffany Stratton? She's someone that we have seen pop up on the main shows off and on within recent months. What if maybe you're trying to go in that direction? Again, that's a long shot, right? But those were, and of course Gigi, Jason, I definitely gravitated towards those names, but just, okay, outside the box, you're just off in your own respected corner. Those two names, Electra, Stratton, those were some I was going for. I was even thinking, and obviously it depended on where she is physically, health-wise, but I was also thinking about my girl, Tiffany Lyons. I was thinking about her, Faith the Lioness. I was also thinking about her, saying, okay, she'd be another one that, it all depends. So them going in this direction, don't mind it whatsoever. I think it's going to be pretty good. Other areas for tonight, we saw JD McDonough. JD looks good with the street clothes on and everything, but once you get him in the ring and it's time to see this guy wrestle, that's where the mystique and all that other stuff, that's where it's just, because all you can do at that point is just say to yourself, this guy is so small. And I think it's a disservice that we should never see JD in his ring gear. That's how I felt even when I was watching him down at NXT. I just felt, no, this guy is just way too small. Literally, he's too small. We should always see this guy pop up in street clothes. That's it. Hands down, always. Anytime he's beating somebody up, whatever, it's always in street clothes. Yeah, it's just the mistake. But I love seeing him pop up and everything as he was trying to tell Judgment Day, you know, Finn Balor had a message and everything. Yeah, as I'm seeing this go down, I'm looking at JD, and JD is reminding me so much. And maybe I'm mentioning this little reference because I just recently watched the movie for probably the 1,000th time or whatever. But JD popped up like, I know a lot of you guys saw the Temptations 2-part movie from back in the day. It's from 1998. I remember Leon's portrayal of David Ruff, and remember the scene particularly where the first time we meet, I think his boy's name was Slim. Remember that? Slim? And Slim is just introducing himself, and the rest of the Temptation members, they're like, who the hell is this dude? Okay, you're Slim, and what? Why should we care who you are? Like, what's your deal? Why are you even introducing yourself like we should know you, like you're some type of powerhouse or whatever? What the hell? And ultimately Slim became supposedly David Ruffin's manager or whatever. I'm looking at JD in that same capacity, the way he's talking to Judgment Day and everything, and it's like, okay, so Finn Balor is the star, huh? Finn Balor is the quarterback here, right? It's basically, hi, I'm Finn Balor, and this is the Judgment Day, right? Okay, we're going in that direction. And I loved how Damian Priest and them, they pretty much said, look, first of all, this is Judgment Day business. Because Damian Priest was addressing all the rumors that was out there about Judgment Day not being on the same page and everything. And he even questioned where Finn Balor was to, you know, address some of these controversies and everything. Because as far as Damian was concerned, no issues whatsoever with Judgment Day. Folks were reading too much into it and all of that. Although Damian taking his little jabs at Balor, you know, where it counted the most. But I love seeing JD out there as laying it all out, as Priest is saying to him, look, this got nothing to do with you. We're talking about official Judgment Day business. You know, like, furthermore, you know, Finn Balor, well, let's get something straight here. You know, he ain't our leader. You know, Judgment Day has no leader. You know, we all speak as one voice, right? One love, one heart, one mind, basically, right? So I loved all that was being put out there, but we know that as far as JD goes, JD's only real interest, he has self-interest. I think you can see where this is going. He's got his own self-interest, motivations and everything, but he's definitely thinking about his good buddy in Finn Balor. I mean, you can just see exactly with great precision how this ultimately is going to play out and everything. Sami Zayn coming out. Thought for sure we weren't going to see Sami Zayn for a little bit. Once again, no appearance from Kevin Owens. And I found myself to be in a position where for the second week in a row, I asked folks, yo, what is going on with Kevin Owens? Is it just this time that, you know, he's vacationing or whatever? What's going on here? And your guess is as good. I'm assuming this is vacation time for Kevin Owens and that we're ultimately going to see him back. Maybe we'll see him back in time for the pay-per-view or whatever, but I just find it to be weird that Owens has just been missing from these past couple of shows, and I've seen no dirt sheets. I haven't seen anything from the good folks at Fightful or you name it. I haven't seen anybody mention anything about Kevin Owens and what's going on with him. Should fans be concerned, you know, or no, nothing to see or report here. Just he's taking his usual vacation. I'm assuming that's what's going on here with Kevin Owens until they say otherwise. You know, it's very weird what's going on because the few times that we have seen Sami Zayn pop up, he's popped up without his half of the tag titles. Although we got to give credit where credit is due, the commentators are still recognizing him as one half of the WWE Undisputed Tag Champions. So, but if you're gonna ask me my thoughts on this from afar, just my 2 cents from a distance, I'm gonna say there's nothing juicy, nothing salacious that's going on. I don't think there's any internal issues between Kevin Owens and WWE. I just feel that this is probably that time where Owens wants to get in some R&R, catch up with the family and everything, and we'll see him in time for sure with the next WWE pay-per-view that's going to be coming up and everything. That's my thoughts, but if you're thinking differently, love to hear from you. Feel free to sound off and everything. Sami Zayn coming out there though, and he was just laser focused on JD. Damian Priest and crew, they didn't care. They're like, go ahead, have your way with him. Hey, he ain't Judgment Day. As far as they were concerned, like, he ain't Judgment Day. So this ultimately leads to a match between Sami and JD. Final moments of this one, Finn Balor comes out trying to distract Sami. Finn run towards the ring, stops right at the ropes, gets a roll up on JD. It's a 2 count. Sami turns. JD connects with a right hand to the face. Then JD goes up to the top rope, tries for a moonsault. Sami manages to get his boots up in time. Right hand to Finn. Halua kick. Sami Zayn wins that way. I tell you what, I appreciate the fact that the way that they laid this match out, they focused on that elbow of Sami's, because remember that elbow from last week, boy, that was really, really bad. A lot of us were looking at that golf ball size that was on that elbow going, what is going on with our boy here? But the fact that he was back and he was actually using that left arm a lot and everything when he was throwing out punches and all of that, it lets us know that, okay, well, he seems to be pretty good. And I love the fact that at one point, too, that they had the elbow pad. They made sure that JD was able to figure out some way to get the elbow pad off, all the extra wrappings and everything, and just homing in on that elbow. I like the way that the match was structured. Great layout when it was all said and done. We saw an appearance by, he's got 25 more days to go to surpass the Honky Tonk Man. I know that's going to break a lot of people's hearts, because believe it or not, in 2023, there are a lot of old school wrestling fans that appreciate the hell out of the Honky Tonk Man, and they're keeping their fingers crossed, and they are hoping, they are praying that Gunther does not surpass Honky Tonk Man. Meanwhile, you got others that's saying, yo, it'd be kind of cool if maybe we saw Gunther and Honky Tonk Man involved in some type of a segment together where maybe Honky Tonk Man game recognizes game, essentially, right? Maybe something like that will go down. I don't know, guys. I really don't know. Honky Tonk Man, 70 years old. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I cannot even think of the last time that I saw Honky Tonk Man take a bump like in recent years. Man, not for nothing. It's not like I'm going out of my way to, you feel where I'm coming from? It's not like I'm going out of my way. Now, look, he looked pretty good when he was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame going back in 2019. He looked pretty damn good. I know he made sporadic wrestling appearances several years back, like around the mid to almost late 2000s, like 2010, maybe like 2015. I know he did some stuff here and there, but I don't know as far as, because see, what I'm picturing is Honky Tonk Man taking some type of a bump. And what I can't figure out right now is, can our boys still take a bump, or is WWE at this point kind of like, yeah, we're good. We don't want to go in that direction. We're
were honestly good. If I were a betting man, I'm going to say if Ricky the Dragon Steamboat can still go, if he can still take some bumps, I'm not going to put it past the Honky Tonk Man. I think Honky Tonk Man, because they're both the same age. They're both literally the same age. They've gone at it just as long in the respective business, although Ricky did go on hiatus for a little bit, not even taking a bump and all that, whereas Honky Tonk Man just kept right on working. Game recognizes game. It could very easily happen, although they could also go in a direction where they say, yeah, you know what, Honky Tonk Man, he's just not needed. And the reason why I'm thinking that way, or even pitching that, remember, Kevin Nash had recently talked about this on his Click This podcast. Shout out to Kevin Nash. But he pitched an idea months back. Hey, when it comes to SummerSlam, let me be like a special MC. Let me be like a MC of the festivities. I could be out there with the fans outside the stadium. I could be getting their reactions to stuff that they've been seeing throughout the event and everything. I'm from the area anyway. What do you say? And for whatever respective reason, WWE, they never took him up on it. Who knows? Maybe they thought he really wasn't that serious about it. Maybe they felt he would have asked for a astronomical, insane number, right? They want to give it to him. There's a lot that's at play here, right? It's one of those the world may never know. But man, if you got Kevin Nash trying to pitch himself, look, I don't even want to be involved in any angle. I just want to be there to help, co-host the event. What's up? And the fact that they didn't go in that direction, you're looking at Honky Tonk Man. I mean, you would like to believe that they're actually going to have Honky Tonk make some type of an appearance, but stranger things has happened. But anyway, Gunther was out there putting over the fact that in 25 days, he'll have the record for longest reigning Intercontinental Champion ever. This eventually had our boy Chad Gable come out, reminding him, hey, I'm going to be your opponent real soon, and whether or not you're actually going to be on your way to get to that record, we shall see and everything. But this had pretty much set up Chad Gable challenging, I believe it was Giovanni, for a one-on-one match. Chad picking up the win. Not a bad match. Could have been a little bit shorter, personally. I personally feel. Gunther taking on Otis after that. Gunther picking up the win right there. Pretty much similar to what went down with Gable, for what it was worth. Matt Riddle finds a partner in Drew McIntyre for the night as they teamed up to take on the Viking Raiders. Riddle, McIntyre picking up the win. Yeah, it's just sad what's going on with Matt Riddle these days. I don't want to think two things when it comes to Matt Riddle. I shouldn't think of the ridiculous Speedos, trunks, whatever you want to call them, every single time Matt Riddle is on my screen, but that's what's been happening as of late when it comes to Riddle, because it's so distracting what's going on with Riddle and those trunks of his, man. It's very, very distracting. The second thing, I hate the fact that every time we now think of Riddle, if we're not thinking about the Speedos that he's wearing these days, we're also thinking about the fact that, wow, this guy is just a leecher for tag team. He's leeching for a buddy, right? And you just can't help but wonder who's going to be that person that's going to step up to Riddle and say, hey, man, doing tag teaming and all that is nice, but, this is WWE, and if you ain't in it to ultimately be a world heavyweight champion, then what the hell are you doing here? Yeah, I would like to see somebody like that mean streak in Riddle, right? But it's amazing when I think about the self-damage that Riddle has done to his career with some of the poor choices that he's made. And that's not me wagging a finger and holier than thou. That's not me going in that direction, so don't take it that way. But it just amazes me how much self-sabotage he did on his own. But then also at the same time, I think about the fact that he is so greatly exposed now that Randy Orton has pretty much been pulled away from him and everything. You know, you thought that maybe this kid was going to be going somewhere really, really cool, the trajectory and everything. And y'all can call me a little bit crazy for going in this direction, but yeah, I see how Logan Paul has been able to, and there was a part of me that thought at one point, yeah, Riddle plays his cards right. Yeah, he should be able to get to those kind of ranks within WWE that Logan Paul has been able to do and everything. And it's kind of sad, you know, what's going on with Riddle here and everything. But this was a nice tag match for what it was worth. I know some people were calling for Drew to turn on, for some weird reason, people were calling for Drew to turn on our boy Riddle. I never got that impression whatsoever. McIntyre at this point, he needs something to do. You know, he's still just kind of floating around there and everything. And as much as I would love to see him and Gunther continue to go at it, I also need to see some type of a shakeup go down with McIntyre. I have a feeling that eventually McIntyre will flip. Just not right now. I mean, this is August. Maybe let's look into it around November. I can see something going on there with McIntyre, though, turning. For sure. For sure, I can see that going down. What else did we get on Raw? Rhea Ripley in a squash match against Indy Hartwell. Trish Stratus taking on Becky Lynch. We thought for sure that this was going to be it. It's interesting because when you go back to the SummerSlam press conference, and again, shout out to our boy Julian Cannon from the Nocturnal and Digiday. He was actually a member of the press media for that event. He wrote a really great article about the whole experience, shared some exclusive photos and everything for the Nocturnal, so go check it out if you guys haven't already. But one of the questions that was asked to Triple H during the SummerSlam press conference was, yo, what happened with Trish and Becky Lynch? This was an advertised match. You know, why was it canceled here? Not sure what's going on. And you had to do some Columbo, you had to do some Columbo okay? You had to be on top of your game here because Triple H goes, yeah, I hear that, but we never advertised this for a SummerSlam match. You go back, you look at every single thing that we've done, since this all pretty much started. We never said that this was going to be a SummerSlam match. And so you're hearing that and, you're kind of going, wow, did mofos just suffer from some form of a Mandela effect? like seriously. So, because you're thinking about this, and then when you actually go back, because that's the challenge now. It's like, okay, go back and let's see to Triple H's point. And it turns out, no, they never did advertise Trish and Becky as a SummerSlam match. So you're going, okay, well, he's got a point right there. But I say all that, many of us have been looking at this. We love Trish Stratus, especially those of us that's followed her career from, the original run and everything. We love us Trish Stratus. Think the world of Trish Stratus, okay? Seriously. But this rodeo, this feud, it ain't clicking. It ain't clicking. Some relationships are like that sometimes, right? Even when you trying to get your freak on and just, let it be a hit it and quit it one night type of deal. Some things just, hey, look, it was a nice attempt, but this just ain't gonna work. Forget about it. Okay? This right here was another case of, I was really, really, really hoping this would end tonight. So Zoe Stark, banned from ringside. We get these girls beating the crap out of each other and everything. How does this bad boy end? Well, they get outside the ring. They go fighting into the crowd. They fight their way all the way up into the high bleachers and all of that. Ends on a double countout. You're going, okay. So we see these girls, they're brawling over by the concourse, and they're just, this was some of the most laziest booking I've ever seen in my life. But they go over to a t-shirt table where they're throwing shirts at each other, but they're making sure that right before the launch of the shirts leaves their hands, they're making sure that these shirts, you can see clear as day what kind of shirt it is and everything. So this is also a nice plug for the shopwwe.com site and everything. I remember at one point, Trish Stratus, I think it was a rainbow Finn Balor club shirt or whatever. She is really quick to open it up, lay it across her chest, and then bunches it up, throws it at Becky. This was just, oh my God. You know this is payback. Most likely this is going to go to payback, and it's unfortunate. You know, it is what it is. Zoe Stark did make an appearance. They both ganged up on Becky Lynch, leaving her in a puddle of crud, high-fiving each other. Adam Pearce catches up to them, says, yo, Zoe, you were banned from ringside. What the hell? Zoe's like, yeah, and I honored that. I did remain away from, so what's your point? So now we're going to see Trish Stratus and Becky Lynch inside of a steel cage. Yay. Yay. We're going to see them inside of a steel cage. Now, it was not stressed if this was going to be going down next week. So just keep that in mind. It could be a match for next week. It very well could be. It could also be a match that's going to be announced for Payback. You just have to wait and see what's going on here. But this feud, the way that I'm feeling about this feud, this has been dead for some weeks now. It is time to move on. It is really, really time to move on. I appreciate these girls trying their best, but it been time to move on. Some things are better left unsaid. This is one of those. As far as worst feuds of the year, I'm not going to say worst matches. I'd really have to, you have to give me a day or two to really think about that. But as far as worst feuds of the year for 2023, I'm definitely giving it to Becky Lynch and Trish Stratus. Until you guys show me otherwise, as far as who should run away with that award, I'm giving it to them right now. Main event match, Cody Rhodes taking on Finn Balor. Crossroads takes care of Balor almost at the 15-minute mark. Great match. You know, honestly, for the most part, this Raw, you could say it was mainly a two-match show, give or take here. But I love the fact that we had a lot of shenanigans that was going on in this one, because let's pick this up. I'm just going to refer to my notes here. So you had Cody, who did this dive. It hit Balor and Priest, but Balor comes back with a superplex. Dominic, meanwhile, he slides in a chair, which the referee catches. While all this is going on, Damian Priest decides, yo, let me slide in the Money in the Bank briefcase. I'm going to try to help my boy out Balor right here, because he needs it. Well, Cody intercepts this sees this bad boy coming like a mile away, uses that same briefcase on Balor. Referee doesn't see any of this. Does the crossroads on Balor. You know, that's pretty much it. So that was nice how all of that was essentially set up here and everything. So we're, you know, 2 things was accomplished right here. Actually, 3 things was accomplished. One is the fact that we're continuing to see miscues by the Judgment Day. And we can essentially see Finn Balor and Damian Priest, dude, what is your problem? What's my problem? What's your problem? I don't have a problem, but apparently you do. 3 times now you've stuck it to me with that damn Money in the Bank briefcase. No, I haven't. Yes, you have. You got something you want to get off your chest? I do if you want to, right? So we've got that whole issue that's going on right there, okay? So that's one. The second phase of this, right, because there's so many angles that's at work here, is the fact that we got Judgment Day post-match beating the crap out of Cody Rhodes. Okay, so they all can be on the same page for that one, right? They're all frustrated. What do? Beat up Cody Rhodes, right? Okay, so obviously Cody is still in the trenches here of Judgment Day. He is still within the crosshairs. That's the whole point. So that's point number 2, right? So you like that. Thus, enter Sami Zayn, who still has issue with the Judgment Day. And I would imagine once Kevin Owens is done with his vacation, right? Boom. KO right back in there and everything, right? But meanwhile, Sami, Cody, they got a epic, brutal beatdown. Worked extremely well. You forget about the fact that Balor just got beat by Cody Rhodes. I know that there's probably a question that most wrestling fans are going to be asking themselves right now, which is, man, Balor, it seems like in these clutch moments, he just keeps losing. You know, what the hell is going on here? Can this guy... You know what? Not every single battle has to be won by the bad guy. You know, I look at this no differently than some of your favorites that have never become a WWF champion, okay? And if a narrative that we're going to paint right now is for all the things that Finn Balor has continued to accomplish in the WWE, if one of those things, as far as asterisk by his record, is the fact that he's never been able to have Seth Rollins' number, I'm totally okay with that. As long as you're telling the right type of a story arc, in which case WWE is. They are doing it right. And I love the fact that we're seeing a Finn Balor that is continuing to be flabbergasted. He is continuing to feel as though, yo, this Damian Priest dude, he is pretty much blocking me every single chance that he gets, because he is so desperate. He is trying so hard to become the new champion, right? He's got to rub it in my face all the time that he's the Money in the Briefcase winner and he gets a shot at whichever championship. He's got to rub it in my face every time, right? I can see a Balor that is just, okay, you know what? The hell with Judgment Day. The hell with... You know eventually it's going to go down. You know eventually it's going to go down. For those of you wondering where was Omos, because I know Omos had reappeared a couple of weeks ago, basically at SummerSlam. No Omos. No Omos returned yet. No Omos returned yet. JD McDonough ran in there, helping things out. Damian Priest and crew nodding their head. At least it seemed for tonight. They didn't mind the little guy's help. So maybe, just maybe, there's a chance for JD to become an honorary member of the Judgment Day. We'll have to wait and see how that all pans out. But we got a few more, way it's looking right now, the way this kind of shaped up, you're kind of giving an idea of a few more matches that's in store for WWE Payback and everything. But we've still got a little ways to go. Not a bad episode of Raw this week, but as far as was it something that if you forgot to record it on the DVR, like is it the end of the world? You're okay, honestly, at this point. Just check out some key highlights on their YouTube channel. You'll be all right. Honestly, the matches that I would probably say go out of your way to watch if you have it on DVR or if it becomes available online. Look up Cody taking on Finn Balor. For sure, check out Sammy taking on JD. I'll give that an honorable mention. And you know, for what it was worth, it was a decent match. McIntyre, Riddle taking on the Viking Raiders. I would say look those respected three up, and then you can pretty much call it a day. Hope you guys been enjoying the show so far. If you have, do me a huge favor and make sure that you hit that like button. When you do that, you really help supercharge content like this and get it to more eyeballs. Really helps out big time as far as expanding the community and everything. So, and we definitely really need that right now. So shout out to those on YouTube, because apparently YouTube is rolling out some new design interface that is really gonna suck for us creators. So in a nutshell, without being long and drawn out about it, anybody that's taking the time out to check out our episode descriptions, they can see the ways they can support the show. They can see all the platforms that we're on and everything. Well, apparently YouTube is rolling out this feature that will be the new way permanently by the end of the month, where any URLs in your video description, those are just, they're not going to work. I think they're even going to be disabled or hidden from those that's trying to view the video. Basically, it's their way of trying to combat against spam. You know, there's a lot of, you guys know, you probably made your rounds checking out comment sections or what have you on YouTube, and you see all these weird little links, and they're trying their best, but there's so much crap that's out there. I gotta say, in the past 6 months, YouTube has done a better job in combating against that type of spam, because I remember for the longest time, I used to see stupid links all the time that was talking about date hot women in your area, and it's like some weird stupid link or whatever, hot girls nude for you, right? Like, you would actually see this in the comment section on YouTube. It'd be so freaking hilarious, right? It ain't funny, right? But so, you know, YouTube's been combating against stuff like that and other stuff. So I get why they're doing what they're doing. Now, there is a workaround to this. Basically, from what I understand, on the main channel page for us YouTube creators, there's basically going to be like this one universal link we'll be able to put in there that'll essentially take you to all the other links. Like if somebody's trying to plug their iTunes, their Spotify, and you know, blah da 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 da, you'll be able to get all of that off that one link that's gonna be on the YouTube channel and all that. So it kind of sucks, you know, it's a little bit of an inconvenience, but you know, if it means at the end of the day it's all about cutting down drastically trolls, spammers, and all that, you know what, I'm all fine for it. I say go ahead, bring it, if it means that it's going to be even more cooler community and everything. But yeah, definitely hit the like, supercharge the heck out of the content. Really helps out a great ton. I tell you what, I personally would like more. You know, I wish, you know, Elon Musk is doing all this stuff with Twitter, X Twitter. He's doing all this stuff. I wish Elon would put some money towards the department to really combat spam. I mean, tell me this hasn't happened to you. You're minding your own business, and then out of a full day, you probably get like about 5 follows from some freaking spam model accounts. It's like, there's not a day that goes by that I keep getting these spam accounts that's following my ex-Twitter account, and I'm just on a blocking spree. You know they're fake when you see them because they don't follow any wrestling joints. None of the people that you know they have in common. And then you look at the tweets that they're putting out, and there's only like one tweet that they put out, and the whole time just one tweet that they put out, and the account went up like 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago or some shit like that. So you're able to see, to my point, all the red flags when you see it. It's fucking, it's hilarious, I tell you. It's hilarious. Anyway, let's keep rocking. Let's keep on rolling. A couple of little tidbits that we can get into here on the show. It's an hour, 14 minutes right now. I think we'll most likely take it up to about, I think we'll go for another 15 minutes, and then we'll call it. Okay? Just to give you guys an idea. Then we're going to call it. Brian Gerwitz made headlines recently as he was interviewed, and one of the key questions that was asked of him was Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Hey, is it possible that we might see this guy do some stuff with the WWE since Hollywood is on strike right now? It's a damn good question. It is a damn good question. And I know that's something that has popped up, you know, for some people, and I get that, because you're looking at the John Cenas. You're looking at the Dave Batistas. You're looking at the Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Now, before I say to you guys how Brian responded to this, how Brian Gerwitz responded to this, you know, just hearing that process of elimination, I'm looking at Big Dave Batista. I'm going, no. Dave is done. Dave is sincerely done. The Dave Batista that I had spoke with a couple of years back at AwesomeCon, because I had took part in his Q&A. I did the photo op, whole nine yards. Sweet guy. I got to tell you, if you are ever in a position where you get to do some type of a Batista meet and greet, it's worth it. It is worth it. Do it. Even if you were to hit me up and you're like, Lee, Batista wants, I'll go with a ridiculous number. Batista wants $1,000 for his meet and greet, and that also includes a Q&A. Should I do it? I would say to you, yeah, go ahead, do it. He is shy. I will tell you that just off the break. He's very shy. So one of the best ways you can get him to lower his guard down a bit is just be natural. Just, you know, don't freak him out, right? Don't creep him out. You know, just be natural with him. Treat him like one of your friends. Do him just like that. Treat him like one of your friends. And it really helps if you are on top of the sports that he's into, because those are definitely good icebreakers as well. I know that was some of the stuff that I had used when I was talking to him and everything. So I know how it can be. I'm that way too. I can be very shy in public with people that I don't normally talk to. I can be like that as well. So some of us need some icebreakers. But Batista, the vibe I was getting way back when was, no, he's at a different phase of his life and career right now. This man is definitely done with the pro wrestling. You know, once it's time for him to go into the Hall of Fame and all of that, yeah, that's it. As far as maybe getting a occasional appearance from Big Dave and maybe he does a Batista bomb on somebody, yeah, nah, I'm not seeing that go down. He's done. John Cena, yes. John Cena, yes. He is somebody I can see come back to WWE on a part-time basis to help out. I can definitely see that, to the point I wouldn't be surprised if, depending on how long this strike continues, because I gotta be honest with you guys. Now, here's the thing. Cena comes off as a very, very smart and resourceful man. I say that to say this. He strikes me as one that, in all the time that he was doing his thing in wrestling, he put a decent amount of money tucked away into a corner. To my point, if you were to say to John Cena, hey John, as far as Hollywood goes, man, this looks like it's going to be stretching out for about probably the next 5 to 7 months, dog. Cena strikes me as someone that is going to say, okay, well, I got my millions. I saved up, so I'll be all right. They can do this for 2 years. I'll be all right. I'll find something to do. Won't be wrestling, but I'll find something to do. Cena strikes me as that type of person. I believe the money has to be just right for Cena to go, all right, let's do this. I'll come back on this limited run, and yeah, let's go ahead. Let's see what we can do. So, of the big three guys so far, we've already eliminated Batista. John Cena, that's your best working bet. And not to mention, you have proof. You have history already working in your favor that, hey, we can't get John Cena to come in and do this. We can't get John Cena to come in and do that. Okay? So that's more believable. That's more manageable. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, I would say no. The Rock, no. Rock's got his hands dipped into XFL, and he's already trying to figure out what's going to happen with its respected second season. I've inked all these new deals and all that, so he's got that going on right now. He's got his own respected production company, and with everything that's happening with this Hollywood strike right now, I would imagine The Rock and his production company, they are put between, no pun intended, but a rock and a hard place, right? Because on the one hand, you're looking at this and you're going, yo, well, I own my own production company and I understand what's going on with the strike, but we're in a really good position here in-house where we can just continue to make our own content, and anybody that wants to help us out while continuing to collect a paycheck, they can definitely do that over here. So with The Rock having his own production company, that's one way. Or The Rock can be like, yo, we got to support everybody involved during this strike. So no matter how much we maybe want to create some new original content and everything, we got to figure out a way that we all can continue to stay paid during this time. And if that ultimately means Rock is going to be coming out of his own pocket to make sure that those that's working for him are able to take care of their respective financial responsibilities until this is all over and done with, right? So, he's got that going on as well. So his own, doesn't he have his own energy drink, clothing line and tequila? So, my point, business-wise, he's got his hands dipped into quite a few other things that's going to need his attention. I don't see Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson doing anything with the WWE on a part-time basis. You're lucky if you can even get this guy to do something for WrestleMania next year, assuming you could maybe have the stars align and be able to do something with him at WrestleMania Philly. On that note, Brian Gerwitz, who is the SVP of development for Rock 7 Bucks Productions Company, recently spoke to The Ringer. And he talked about why the Great One is unlikely to appear for WWE during the WGA and SAG AFTRA strikes and more. So, on fans asking to acknowledge Roman Reigns, The Rock does look at his social media. I don't know how much you can cover when you have millions upon millions and millions of followers, but somehow he saw the Grayson Waller thing. We haven't discussed it yet. I personally don't think, obviously, there are bigger things going on in the world in general, but even in the entertainment landscape, I would be, even though WWE is not affiliated with any of the guilds and not affiliated with SAG, it's a bad look for a prominent actor like The Rock, Cena, Batista to appear on an entertainment program, whether there is a strike going on, and people are not getting paid and are striking. Yes, it's not insane, but appearing on television in an entertainment capacity is not a great look when a strike is going on. He's absolutely right. He is absolutely right. You know, it's almost, to Brian's point, it's like the very principle. You feel where I'm coming from? Even though, like, yeah, they aren't associated, still the optics. It's all about the optics. It's all about the optics. On The Rock potentially returning to WWE at some point, I would be shocked if The Rock appeared anytime soon while the strike is going on. But I would be equally, if not more shocked, if The Rock never appeared in a WWE ring again and figuring in the storyline at some point. It needs to be crafted, discussed, and thought about. We've never talked about this, just my opinion. If The Rock tweeted something about the bloodline, it's not like if I tweeted something. If he tweeted something, the gates of hell are open. It's hard to close the door again once you do it. Once you dip your toe into the pool, it's on. You can tweet Grayson Waller. He can tweet back, and it can be a funny exchange. But there's not going to be this pitchfork-like mentality of, what are you waiting for? Do it. You started it. Once you start doing the bloodline thing, it's time to go. That's why you have to be very judicious and careful. And he's absolutely right. He's absolutely right. Because I know a lot of people are looking at this right now and they're going, yo, if there was ever a time for The Rock and the bloodline and oh, well, what about Cena and what about... Look, if you need a better example of an actor that is saying one thing about supporting the strike, but then basically, hey, look, people got bills they got to pay. We got to do what we got to do, but, you know, support the people that's... Look at those comments that came from Stephen Amell a couple of weeks back. I mean, he was getting his ass handed to him left and right. Okay? So, you know, if these guys were ever thinking about, well, maybe I could do some stuff, you know, yeah, no. And essentially self-sabotage your career and maybe perhaps put yourself in a position where you could potentially be blacklisted. Yeah, Hollywood blacklisted. Once you do that, that is, you know, ask Monique how that goes. Comedian, actress Monique. Ask her about that. Not very good, folks. So, yeah, no. Other than that, I want to put this in you guys' ear. Apparently, Todd Gordon, the founder of ECW, he has a new book that's going to be coming out in late September on the creation of the promotion and, you know, why it was the right time to, you know, start telling the stories and all that. And it's called Todd is God, the authorized story of how I created Extreme Championship Wrestling. It comes out on September 28th, and it looks like Sean Oliver from Kayfabe Commentaries is co-author of this book. And Todd Gordon, you know, him and Sean Oliver, friends for many years, just continue to go back and forth in phone conversations and everything, having the best of laughs. And Sean Oliver would always tell him, dude, this would be so awesome if you were to put this in a book. You gotta write a book. And Todd was against it because he never planned on writing a book. Well, Sean, you know, hounded him for about 2 years, and finally Todd caved in, and, you know, now the rest is history. So I'm actually looking forward to checking out that book. So put that on your radar list. Again, that's going to be coming out on September 28th. I'm actually going to be checking that out. Look forward to it. And I'll be sure to give you guys a review on that one. Also, Aubrey Edwards, referee Aubrey Edwards, she had teased that there are several new projects lined up for AEW games. In an interview with the good folks over at Under the Ring, she teased that she's working on new projects for AEW games that she can't talk about right now, and she didn't specify on what she was involved in, but she did seem to imply that it wasn't related to the recently released Fight Forever video game. So, and speaking of the Fight Forever video game, there is already a lot of buyer's remorse over that game. There is a lot of people that are now, wow, this game is so dead. Remember all the hype that came out with this game, some weeks back, and now, what's going on? To hear that the game's been out for over a month or whatever, and the Stadium Stampede, that game is that mode, it's not out yet. Yeah, that game was released on June 29th. So here we are, like a month and a half, right? We're pretty close to like 2 months, and Stadium Stampede has not come out yet. At least that I'm aware of. It hasn't come out yet. There's no there's nothing. Some downloadable content that was promised, that still hasn't been announced yet as far as a firm. When is it going to be coming out? Is it possibly going to be this month? Is it, going to be the next month? Is it going to be September? Is it going to be Christmas? You would think that with All In, All Out coming up, now more than ever, they would be, what's going on? Can we get this stuff out? But nothing yet has come out. So now I know as far as post-launch content, it was reported in the data mines that there was going to be a Stadium Stampede. Players would also be able to compete in some form of a battle royale match in an open arena environment that included weapon loadouts, item chests, vehicles, things of that nature. On July 6th, last update that I'm seeing for this game, on July 6th, the mode was formally announced with a trailer showcasing the large stadium map with visual comparisons being made to Fortnite, Call of Duty, Warzone. So, but nothing still has not come out yet. So that's not good. That is not a good sign. When you have a new game that comes out, if you want to keep the consumers coming back, it's simple formula, one-on-one. You want to keep them around. You want to keep them logging into that game for as long as humanly possible. Whether you're doing some form of microtransactions for new costumes, new theme songs, or you got a new mode that's getting ready to release, you got to have that roadmap out. As far as, right, this is when this is going to release, this is when we're going to have this come out. And the fact that nothing has come out yet, that is definitely a very, very bad sign. I was mentioning the CM Punk news from earlier. There is so much that is going on here with the CM Punk stuff. It's not even funny. I mean, we've got the CM Punk Hangman stuff that pretty much went down after Collision went off the air. And then we've got this stuff with CM Punk, Matt Hardy, Christopher Daniels. Just, man, if we were to bite into that apple right now, we would definitely go past a 2-hour show. I want to talk a lot more about that on Wednesday, because normally we get to talk of Dynamite out the way, and then we're really, really all over the place on the Wednesday show in a good way. So I want to have that more be AEW grounded. So I'm going to hold off the talk on Punk and everything until the Wednesday show. FYI for you guys. That's when we're going to do it. Asuka had made headlines in a series of posts on Twitter. We'll end it on this note. Asuka has spoke about her problems with the Japanese media as well as Stardom. You know about the promotion Stardom, which she claims had a vendetta against her. She said the promotion was created to defeat and destroy her, and the media hated her. And this was a rather lengthy post that she wrote. You know, she's not really the type to post lengthy stuff on social media, but in this case she did. She said, "I don't flatter anyone. Even in Japan, the media hated me because I don't flatter the media. In Japan, everyone was flirting with the media except me. I fought the media alone to take care of my fans. That's why some of the Japanese media still hate me. That's why I've always been a freelancer. And everyone in Japan knows I am anti-Joshi Pro, always. The former editor-in-chief of Pro Wrestling Weekly has made this point on several occasions. That is, Stardom is an organization that was created to defeat me. It is an organization that was created to destroy me personally, but they failed to defeat me. I don't know what happened to them after that because I came to America. The media could not bring me down when I came to America. They must have really wanted me to fail. I am used to it because I have been fighting my critics alone since my days in Japan. But now that I am here, I have comrades in arms. Charlotte, Becky, Triple H, and I've walked alone in the wilderness all my life. And here I have an oasis. To the Asuka antis, I say, beat me up on the internet all you want. I grab everything. When I became champion, one media outlet asked wrestling fans, do you think it is good enough to be champion? Do you think it deserves to be champion? Compare me to other people. Do you think my abilities are inferior? Can you believe that? I always say fighting that media I always say, okay, now it's kind of phrasing wrong here. It's not me, it's actually how it's written. I was always fighting that media all by myself. Kind of weird how that was phrased there. What I just said is in the past. It was before I came to America. Now the organization has changed and there are few players I know. So I don't know anything about it, and good luck to everyone who's trying their best. I'm especially concerned about Sairu and I don't know how to pronounce that one. I'll try it though. Shirakawa. That's all. So, a very long, decorated career that Asuka has had in the world of pro wrestling. Very interesting words that she said right here. I couldn't help but look at some of the comments that were coming in from social media. One person said, from what I understand, Asuka had tried to get these promotions to stop objectifying women and instead get the focus back on storytelling and wrestling. Let's remember that the bullying of female wrestlers in Japan didn't stop after Hana Kimura. And it's not just the internet trolls, but their media can be exponentially worse than the wrestling journalists here, who at least have some level of respect for the talents. Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, not to mention, and that's one of the main reasons why I extremely and rarely talk about female Japanese wrestling promotions. I know Eddie and a couple other guys, there's a couple that they always seem to talk about and everything, and usually if there's a stream playing or whatever, I'll see what they're looking at, or maybe I'll see if I can try to find some highlights online or everything, but it's not something that I typically gravitate towards, because from what I had saw over the years, the way that a lot of the female Japanese wrestlers would be portrayed, typically it would be, okay, we're going to put you in these nice, cute little, very seductive outfits. You're barely wearing anything as you're coming out, but you're going to be a valet for this male wrestler over here, or if you are going to be involved in some type of wrestling. You know, you're gonna still be wearing this very seductive outfit, hardly wearing anything. You're going to be taking on a woman that's going to have, believe it or not, even way less clothes than you. And, you know, when you all wrestle, you know, you're going to do a lot of booby grabbing, booty slapping, and, you know, all kinds of, right? Booby and booty slapping, grabbing, and all this other stuff, licking each other's face, licking each other's arms, all this other crazy crap. And you know, it's rather uncomfortable, right? Because like even when you think about some of the mudslinging shows that was going on out here in North America, you know, back in the day, you know, the mud show female wrestling promotions, right? You want to talk WEW, you can definitely go that route. You know, there's a couple you can think of that over the years in North America, but like even when you're looking at them, you know, you're kind of going, damn, to a certain degree, these North American promotions respect their women just a little bit more than what, you know, Japan, you know, is essentially doing over here. And then you would look at the way they would do the female wrestlers back in the day out there in Japan. They would, you know, man, just the way they were, is objectified even a word? I'm just gonna go with it right now, you know. But like all these sexual poses and damn near getting butterball naked, you know. This is what Asuka was dealing with back in the day. And you know, let's not forget that Asuka, a very, very smart woman, her origin does not get talked about enough. This is a woman that, as many of you guys know, definitely is on top of her video games, all things pulp culture and everything, because remember, she was at one point a freelancer, and you know, she was pretty big, you know, on the tech side and everything, gaming side and all that, from what I remember and everything. This is a woman that has fought her way from the bottom to the top, you know, as far as everything that she has set out to do and everything. So it's a very valid point. It's all of this, the totality of it, you got to take it all into consideration here, man. Seriously. I'm just going through some more comments here. I'm trying to find some really good, you know. I like this one right here. It kind of reminds me of when Ibushi trashed New Japan Pro Wrestling. Asuka made a name for herself worldwide without the backing of any major Japanese promotion. She is the GOAT for that. She is. She never dedicated herself to just one promotion. She stayed branching out. I only have two words for all of this. Rossi Ogawa. She was behind this 20 years ago. He was behind this 20 years ago, and he would still be behind it if he could get away with it. He has been behaving better since he sold Stardom. Let's see. Here's one here. This is an old story. Asuka, at the time Kana, legitimately hated Nane Takashi, who was one of the founders of Stardom. The latter offered Io Shirai a spot in their promotion, and the former Io Sky accepted. This, however, happened while Io was in a stable with her sister Mio and Kana. Asuka had been quite vocal about her hatred for Stardom since then. There was a reply to that comment. When Kana returned to Joshi in 2007, she worked for Nane Takahashi's Passion Red, which was more management company than promotion. Kana wanted more money in 2009, and Nane slapped her backstage. You can watch all this on YouTube. 2010 was when Kana changed her look and started triple tails with the Shirai sisters, who were outcasts at the time because the owner of the promotion they worked for was thrown in jail for running a protection racket. Their big break came when Tajiri was made general manager of Smash and he brought them in. All I think, if you were to ask Kana, she would credit Tajiri for helping her a lot. Stardom began a couple of years later, and then the owner of Smash bought the MMA company Pancreas and closed Smash. Was it really called Pancreas? I gotta be reading that wrong. I do have my glasses now, but I think I'm reading that right. And closed Smash, and through most of this, Io lived in Mexico. So yeah, it really depends. Obviously she's talking about a particular time in wrestling, a particular time at her dealings, knowings of certain promotions. I mean, at least she recognized the fact that obviously times have changed. It's a different beast, now compared to back then. That guy commented this: Asuka came to WWE to cash in. Honestly, she's almost 42 and won't have a long reign with a singles championship. WWE gives her job security and plenty of money. There was a nice rebuttal to this, though. Let's not act like she is a jobber. She has an undefeated streak of over 2 years with some great matches. Won the first ever all-women's Royal Rumble, has been the sole survivor in a Survivor Series match, won Money in the Bank, has been NXT Women's Champion, Raw Women's Champion, SmackDown Women's Champion, Women's Tag Champion, and is always treated with respect by the announcers. I think that given that resume versus a fluke WrestleMania a la Zack Ryder or the Iconics, any sane person would take her resume. Very interesting stuff right here. So it really depends on how you want to look at this. I mean, this kind of seemed like Asuka was just maybe caught up in how far she's come along in the business, particularly in dealing with the Japanese media and Stardom and all of that, and whether or not it was a vendetta, and what's past is past. Like, why even bring it up? That's my whole thing. Why even bring it up? She says what I just said is the past. It was before I came to America. Now the organization has changed, and there are few players I know. Well, why not maybe mention that somewhere at the top? If you were just reminiscing to yourself, right? That's all in the past. Well, why even bring it up? Obviously, it still strikes some type of a chord with you to this very day that you wrote a rather lengthy post about it. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with feeling that way. There's nothing wrong with, trust me, yours truly, I still get salty here and there over a couple of things that happened years and years ago. I think about certain people that I haven't spoken to in years or more recently, and obviously there's still some type of pain that hurts. Obviously you don't forget about how these people had treated you and everything, especially if they played a positive impact in your life and all of that. And then for those that play some type of a negative impact on your life, obviously, as I always like to say, as long as you're able to turn a negative into a positive, you'll always thrive in life. That's always been my motto, okay? And somehow, I don't get too caught up in the weeds, because when you get too caught up in the weeds on what was past, you are staying focused on looking out that rearview mirror when you really need to be looking forward, always forward, as I like to say. So, I think this was just a case right here. Honestly, I don't look at this as Asuka sincerely trying to throw shots at. I think this was just her talking about her personal experience when she was coming up, and the Japanese media, I can't really speak on that to a great degree. That would be more so for the Meltzers, or hell, even Mish. I'm very curious Mish's take on this, because I know he was into Asuka way sooner before I had got into it and everything. I'm most curious what he has to say in regards to that. But nothing wrong with reminiscing, but you don't want to be too caught up there in the weeds for all intents and purposes. Let's see. Other than that, let's call it, y'all. Let's call it. DONE done. Let's go ahead. Let's call it. So we got Wednesday coming up. That is August 16th. I'll be live with you guys after AEW Dynamite goes off the air. We're going to go all into it, by the way, in regards to that whole CM Punk stuff. I bet you between now and then, even more information is going to come out. So I don't mind sitting on that until the Wednesday night show. So, but meanwhile, be kind, rewind, check out previous episodes you might have missed on demand and on the downloads. If you're new, welcome. Make sure you hit the subscribe so you don't miss out on future content that comes your way on a weekly basis. Support the YouTube channel. We got the podcast version of the shows available wherever you get your podcasts. We're on Spotify. We've got Amazon Alexa, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, Amazon Music, TuneIn. Just use the keywords, the RCWR show, all over the place. You can get at me on Twitter, X or X Twitter, whatever the hell we're calling that thing now. Also on Facebook at the RCWR show. And that is going to do it. Sound off, leave me those comments. I will definitely get to you guys. I'll respond, leave those reactions, all that good stuff. Shout out to friends of the show. Shout out to Julian Cannon. Shout out to Anthony Missionary Thomas and Joseph Numbers of Wrestling Soup. Shout out to DJ, who's just been killing it on the YouTube channel of ours as of late, uploading new stuff. Appreciate that. Who else am I missing? Oh, you know what? I also want to give a shout out to, I think it's Jeff. Hang on. I think it's Jeff I want to give a shout out to. When in doubt, just go with Evil Dose. Want to give a shout out to Evil Dose. Evil Dose, me and him got some stuff in the works. We're going to try to see how that works out. I'll give you guys a little bit more details on that in just a little bit. And yeah, that is going to do it. Until next go round, wishing all of you all to be safe. Most importantly, be kind to one another. And I will see you guys next go round. Take care, y'all. Peace.